Two friends, Mike and John. Mike earns $140,000 a year. John earns $42,000. Mike drives a leased BMW. John drives a paid-off Civic. Mike has $800 in his savings account. John has $34,000. They are not exceptions, they are the rule. And the distance between their bank balances has almost nothing to do with their income. This is the high-income poverty trap, and it is quietly swallowing millions of people who look wealthy from the outside and feel broke from the inside, and once you see the math behind it, you cannot unsee it. Let's set the scene. Mike is 34. He got the degree, worked his way up, and landed a $140,000 salary in a mid-sized city. By every external measure, Mike is successful. He has a good title, a nice apartment, a car that turns heads in the parking lot, and a lifestyle that matches the income. His friends assume he's building serious wealth. His family thinks he made it. Mike himself isn't sure what's happening. John is 34 too. He never made it past $45,000. He works in logistics, drives a 2014 Civic with 110,000 miles on it, and brings his lunch to work 4 days a week. Nobody thinks John is winning. Nobody asks John for financial advice at dinner parties. John has $34,000 in an index fund, a $12,000 emergency fund, and zero credit card debt. John is quietly ahead. How does this happen? How does someone earning 3 times as much end up with less than nothing to show for it? The answer is 4 words. Spending scales with income. And it scales automatically, invisibly, and faster than almost anyone expects. The year Mike hit $140,000, his rent went from $1,200 to $2,400. He reasoned that he could afford it now. His car payment went from $0 to $680 a month because he leased the BMW the same week he got the offer letter. His dinners went from $18 to $65 because that's just what people at his level do. His clothing budget doubled. His vacations went from domestic to international. His coffee became a ritual at $7 a cup. None of these decisions felt reckless. Each one felt earned. That is the trap. It never feels like a trap. It feels like a reward. Let's run the actual numbers. Mike takes home roughly $8,700 a month after federal and state taxes. Here is where it goes. Rent, $2,400. Car lease, $680. Car insurance on the BMW, $220. Student loans from the degree that got him the job, $480. Subscriptions, streaming, gym, software, $310. Dining and entertainment, $900. Groceries, $400. Clothing and personal care, $350. Travel, spread monthly, $500. Phone, $120. Miscellaneous, which is never actually miscellaneous, $400. Total monthly spend, $7,760. That leaves $940 a month. Mike contributes $500 to his 401k pre-tax, so his actual take-home after that is closer to $440 in liquid savings per month. Less than $5,000 a year on a $140,000 salary, and that is a good month. A month with no car repair, no flight to a friend's wedding, no broken laptop, no medical bill that insurance didn't fully cover. The average month for Mike is actually closer to $0 after everything lands. John takes home roughly $2,800 a month. His expenses look like this. Rent, $950. No car payment. Car insurance on the Civic, $90. No student loans. He went to community college. Subscriptions, $60. Groceries, $280. Dining and entertainment, $200. Phone, $45. Gas and car maintenance, $120. Miscellaneous, $150. Total monthly spend, $1,895. That leaves $905 a month. John invests $700 of it every month without thinking about it. Mike saves $440 on a good month. John saves $700 every single month. The guy earning 1/3 of Mike's income is putting away 59% more money. This is the math nobody talks about at the dinner party. Income minus expenses equals wealth. Not income alone, not job title alone. The gap between what comes in and what goes out is the only number that actually matters. And right now, that gap favors John by a factor that should be uncomfortable. Let's fast forward 10 years. John has been investing $700 a month for a decade, starting with his $34,000 base. At a 9% average annual return, his portfolio sits at approximately $280,000 to $300,000. He didn't touch it. He didn't time the market. He just didn't spend money he didn't have. Mike, over the same 10 years, has been contributing $500 a month to his 401k. His portfolio at the same return rate sits at roughly $95,000 to $105,000, depending on when his contribution started. He also has no other savings. His car leases have been recycled every 3 years. He has moved to slightly nicer apartments twice. His income grew to $165,000, but his expenses grew in parallel. The way they always do when spending is tied to earning rather than to a plan. At 44, John has 3 times the investable wealth of Mike, despite earning a third of the income across that entire decade. This is not a hypothetical. Federal Reserve data consistently shows that the top income quintile has lower savings rates than the second income quintile. High earners systematically save a smaller percentage of what they make because the spending pressure at higher income levels is relentless, socially enforced, and invisible until it is too late. Here is what makes this trap different from ordinary overspending. It is not impulsive. Mike is not gambling. He's not buying watches he cannot afford. He's not making obviously stupid decisions. Every single line item in his budget has a rational justification. The BMW lease he drives to client meetings. The $2,400 apartment, it's in the neighborhood where people at his level live. The $65 dinners, that's where relationships get built in his industry. International vacations, he works hard and he has earned a real break. Each decision in isolation sounds reasonable. Together, they form a cage. The technical term for this is consumption lock-in. Once your lifestyle expands to absorb your income, contracting it feels like failure, even when it's actually freedom. Mike cannot take a lower stress job for $90,000 because his fixed expenses require $7,760 a month to survive. He is not free. He is leveraged against his own paycheck. John, without trying, built optionality. He can take a different job, move to a cheaper city, take 6 months off, or absorb an emergency without panic. His lower income bought him something Mike's higher income could not. Choices. There is one more cost that almost never makes the spreadsheet. The opportunity cost of not investing the difference. If Mike had kept his lifestyle at his old income of $90,000 when he got the raise to $140,000 and invested the $3,500 the monthly difference for 10 years, his portfolio today would sit at roughly $670,000. That is the number that should make your stomach drop. Not what he spent, what he did not build. Now here's the part that gets uncomfortable. This is not just a Mike problem, it is a structural problem, because the higher your income, the more expensive the social environment around it becomes. Your colleagues earn what you earn. Your apartment building attracts tenants at your income level. Your industry's networking happens at restaurants, hotels, and events priced for your bracket. The invisible cost of belonging to a high-income social world is priced into everything around it, and opting out of that environment is not just a financial decision. For many people, it is a career decision and a social one. That does not make it impossible, it makes it intentional. The people who escape the high-income poverty trap do not do it by accident. They make an active, uncomfortable, deliberate decision to separate their spending from their earnings. They set a savings target first, fund it automatically, and spend whatever is left. They treat their investment account like a fixed expense. They do not upgrade their lifestyle every time their income grows. They let the gap compound. That is the entire strategy. Not a complex one, but one that almost nobody in a high-income bracket is executing because the pressure not to execute it is ambient, constant, and disguised as success. Mike is not a cautionary tale about stupidity. He is a cautionary tale about defaults. The default when income rises is to raise spending. The default when you earn more is to live more. Nobody corrects that default for you. Your employer won't. Your bank won't. Your social circle will actively reinforce it. The trap is not a trap because it is hidden. It is a trap because it feels like a reward. And by the time the math becomes undeniable, a decade has passed and the compound growth that could have been working silently for you has been working silently against you instead. The next time someone tells you high income equals wealth, ask them one question. What's the gap? Because the size of the gap is the only number that matters. And the people who figure that out early, whether they earn $42,000 or $142,000, are the ones who actually end up with something to show for it.